Hey everybody, this is your daily dose of all things royal.
You had to bow to the Queen of England. Correct, because it's the royal family. Get over it.
Leave it to Andrew Tate to call it like it is. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. Today, we're going to be looking at a portion of the interview that Candace Owens had with Andrew Tate, discussing their thoughts about Harry and Meghan. Before I show you this portion of the interview, I thought that it would be perfect for this video because of Meghan and Harry's announcement of investing in gender equity and shaping masculinity around fathers and boys and men. Now, we all have seen with Meghan how she emasculated Harry and took his manhood away from him, making him sort of the submissive one in this relationship. Yeah, it's pretty on brand for Meghan to be part of a movement that wants to destroy families overall. And now jumping on the bandwagon of gender equity and have partnered with an organization that is working to achieve social justice transformation of breaking those intergenerational patterns of harm and promoting patterns of care, empathy, and accountability among boys and men. Just so you know, this recent publicity stunt on the Archwell website around the state of the world's fathers, the report really is about pushing an agenda for paid parental leave as well as equal care and other rights that go along with gender. I bet you can guess some of the familiar names that are backing this nonprofit, Equimundo. Is anybody surprised that you see George Soros' organization, Open Society Foundation, also Bill Gates's Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation? Or how about the UN, also involved with this? And there's no surprise at who the corporate sponsors are. As you can see, P&G, Dove, L'Oreal, Gillette, and UN Women. Once again, the UN's all up in here. Oddly enough, Archwell is nowhere found on this website, nor are they found on the recent report that they posted on their own website. So is this another attempt to jump on another bandwagon in order to take credit for work that already had been done? Or is this a way to avoid scrutiny for pushing political agendas through a foundation that really is a public charity and shouldn't be doing that? Or could it be both? Whatever the case is, we have come to learn that a lot of these social justice transformation initiatives really are actually tearing society down. And in this clip with Candace Owens and Andrew Tate, use Meghan and Harry as the example of what is going wrong in society as a result of this psychological manipulation. Take a listen.
Someone like Prince Harry, on TV, with his arms like this, breathing and showing what he learned in therapy, it makes me want to die a little.
Completely.
It makes me want to die a little when I see men acting like this.
Completely.
And that's controversial because they're supposed to say, oh my God, he's so brave. It's so stunning. Like he's showing this side of him. Everything about Prince Harry to me is what a man should not be. Right?
Absolutely.
What you've done to your family, betraying your family, allowing a woman to assert that much control over you that you would for profit betray your family. I mean, everybody's got a family. Everybody's got family issues. Don't even let me get started, but the idea of selling out your family and then going...
the royal family.
The royal family.
Selling out the royal family. And yeah.
What happened, it's such a display of what's happened to men, what's happened to masculinity. He's giving up his guns. He's never going to do this anyway. It's all of it is such a public example of what can happen.
The thing is, I know what's so interesting is I know how miserable he is.
He's miserable.
There's no way a man can be happy in that scenario because I think masculine happiness comes from strength and to a degree excellence and also comes from respect. Men want to be respected and he doesn't respect himself, his family doesn't respect him, and his woman doesn't respect him. I know how unhappy he is. I know how unhappy she is by extension. It's just an unhappy, miserable house. He gave up everything and gained absolutely and utterly nothing. This whole therapy thing, the reason I believe they push therapy so heavily is because it goes into something I said a little bit earlier about selfishness. If you convince somebody that they have to spend hours and hours per week sitting in a chair talking about that feeling they had last Thursday in the kitchen.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
Crazy.
You want to talk about creating mental illness. There it is. This exasperates problems. This makes it worse. And it also builds this culture of absolute and utter selfishness. excuse me, they're trying to put you in jail for the rest of your life effectively because they're going to enslave you and they're going to control all the money and they're going to make you get injections you don't need. Yeah, but I'm sad. I got therapy. I'll talk about it later. Yeah. That's all they want. They just want you to be so obsessed with how you feel in your own mind that you can't even look outside of yourself and care about anything. Right. It's part of the propaganda machine. It's part of the mechanism to turn us all into docile farm animals. I said this to somebody the other day. They were talking about how they feel. And I said, who cares how you feel? And he goes, well, what do you mean? Well, I don't care. You're telling me I know you and I don't care. So all the people who don't know you don't care. The woman you want doesn't care. You can't go up to a chick at a bar and say, you know what? Usually I'm really charming. Today I'm a bit sad. Can you give me a pass? Can you let me off? She'll be like, go away, weirdo. The chick you want doesn't care. The job you're supposed to perform at doesn't care. If the man who wants to mug you decides to pull a machete, he doesn't care. You can't say, bro, I'm not in the mood for a fight today. Tomorrow, please. Nobody cares. So why do you care? All the people out here in the world don't care, but you're going to sit there and you're going to care. You're the only person in the world who cares. You're going to walk around telling everybody, trying to find somebody who gives a shit. Good luck. Because what's going to happen is you're going to walk around feeling sorry for yourself, trying to find somebody who cares. You might find somebody who pretends to care long enough for you to get a little bit of dopamine. But all in all, you're wasting time in a hyper-competitive world where people like me who perform regardless of how they feel are just going to perpetually bury you. And then you're going to sit there and wake up and go, why am I a loser? Well, because when Andrew was sad, he continued to perform. When Andrew was in jail, nothing about his life degraded when he was in a jail cell surrounded by cockroaches. You're in a plushy bed at home. Crying about what? And you expect the male world's hyper competitive. So you're not allowed almost as a man to put that much importance on how you feel. You don't have time to care about it because you have too much to do. I've actually had conversations with therapists, I think twice in my life. I did a TV show in England and I had to speak to a therapist. And then I think it was another TV show, 2 TV shows, I had to speak to these therapists. And I sat there and said, I don't believe in your science because in math, 1 + 1 is 2. And we understand that. Whereas with what you teach, you can have a guy who doesn't drink alcohol because his dad was an alcoholic and a guy who is an alcoholic because his dad was an alcoholic. So how can you have the same scenario and 2 completely different outcomes? She goes, oh yeah, but there's general rules we can follow. I said, then let's end the conversation. I'm not a general person. I'm exceptional. So can we just stop wasting everybody's time here? Because all your general rules don't apply to me. I'm smarter than you. What have you achieved? Goodbye. I'm a world champion. See ya. Like it's garbage. And I really do believe, I think there is this mass drive to instill the idea of absolute selfishness in people. I think they're trying to, when I really analyze the ideal citizen they want, the ideal citizen is yes, docile, and yes, he's eunuch, but he's also ultimately selfish. Because then you don't care about community. And I think therapy is a fantastic way to make you selfish. Because that's all you talk about is, what do you talk about? Garbage.
Yeah, why you have the right to act this way, even if you're acting terrible.
Why did I do? Well, when I was 9, get a life.
Yeah, that's really Prince Harry's book, honestly.
Is it?
Yeah, I could only get past the first 2 chapters. I was like, it should have just been called Privileged. You know what I mean?
And this is the thing.
These aren't even struggles.
And here's the thing. I think Margaret Thatcher said the best upbringing you can have is good parents and no money. Because you look at Prince Harry you can't talk about anything better for a perfect upbringing, royal family. Come on. It's not his fault, right? Royal family, fine. But he was supposed to have gone to the army. He went to Afghanistan and supposedly he fought, but obviously he didn't. He played
Xbox.
Of course, he just sat in the back. But if you don't give a man struggle, look what he becomes. Tell me the kind of man, if I were to say to you, imagine a man who's never struggled in his life. Physically, mentally, everything's gone perfect for him. He's born in the royal family, everything's been perfect for him his whole life. Is that the kind of man anybody respects? Is that the kind of man anyone wants to be? And struggle is subjective, right? So Prince Harry dealing with his current problems of his wife nagging, to him, that's full mental breakdown, right? My problems are obviously much larger, but struggle is subjective. To us, they're almost on the same level. But if you were to compare them side by side, they're absolutely nothing. So as a man, you have to build resilience, and you build resilience through going through something and building a tolerance to it. And this guy's had such a privileged life that he's ended up a miserable, depressed, unhappy person. So this is what's actually very interesting. When men come to me or young boys come to me and talk about something bad that happened to them, I said, good. Absolutely, not really good. You should be glad that thing happened to you because that's the reason you're going to be the man who can resist the perils of life in the future. If bad things don't happen to you, you're going to end up like Prince Harry. You do want to end up like that dude, do you?
No one does.
Yeah, exactly. So your life's going to be so easy. You're going to get to the end result and your wife's just going to wreck you. So you need to have all these bad things happen to you so you build the mental resilience. And that's another thing about masculinity and males as a whole. We're trying to take that all away from them in almost every regard. And it's kind of like, there used to be like rites of passage where a boy would become a man. That's all gone. There used to be this masculine, very healthy peer pressure to be big and strong, and that's all gone. There used to be, I don't want to use the wrong words. I attacked for it, but men used to not pick on each other, not bully each other, but hey, you can't do push-ups, you're weak. We'd push each other in that way, shame each other to excellence almost. We still do it to this day in this house. And it doesn't matter how much money you have, life is always going to be difficult. It doesn't matter how much you try and shelter your children, how rich you are, what family they're born into. Life is going to be difficult, and if there is no struggle in their life, they're going to find struggle, or something that shouldn't be a struggle will become a struggle for them because their life has been so sheltered, and life is hard. So if you can't avoid a difficulty, you may as well get very good at it. You may as well get good at difficulty. And it's amazing when you look at someone like Prince Harry, he's just a man who has not become very good at difficulty, and he's just completely collapsed in the face of a woman who's complaining at him. And yeah, even worse than all that, the dishonor of selling out. We were talking about how I feel a duty to my bloodline and my last name, and I have to do my father proud. He's from the British royal family. And he had no honor. He couldn't even sit and say, look, listen.
He couldn't even shut up for them.
Yeah, literally. He had to sell out in a book. God does not smile favorably on people who make these kind of decisions. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why he's going to be unhappy for a very long time. And he's going to realize that it was never worth it. And what did he do it for? Money? You're from the royal family, my friend. You really need money that bad? It's truly shameful. And I think deceit and treachery are the most heinous and most disliked personal qualities, or something you can actually witness somebody do. I think everybody hates them. And it's because anybody can fall victim to them. Anybody can fall victim to deceit or treachery because you trust that person. Everybody trusts someone, right? So if that person turns on you, you're always in trouble. So I think he thinks that he has the populace on his side. But I don't think he understands that when you out yourself as a snake, everybody intrinsically dislikes you.
Even if they enjoyed watching the show.
Oh, completely.
They've stepped away and went, okay, because I gave the example on my show. You have the Kardashian family, but the one thing about them is they're thicker than thieves. So America does like a reality show, right? Like a reality show. But the reason why they have gained popularity is because actually they always back each other up. They still remained a family unit. 100%. And when you betray that, when you betray family, I think left and right, you just kind of go, okay, maybe that was a little too much.
Yep. It was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch, but we don't really trust you.
I don't want to be your friend. Yeah, I don't want to be your friend.
I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah, completely. I mean, you're going to sell your own brother out?
What am I to you, right? If you do that to your own brother, what am I to you?
Absolutely crazy. And then he wonders why. And I also think what he probably doesn't understand, and if he's watching this, you never know, he might. Hello, Harry. If he's watching this, I don't think he even understands that even his woman views him that way. Mm-hmm. Even Meghan views you that way. Even Meghan looks at you and goes, I complained at you over William, and you were supposed to tell me to be quiet, and you didn't. So now I think you're a bitch. Now what? And you wonder why she's never happy. So now he's in big trouble. I don't know what he's going to do with his life, but he's in big trouble. But it's interesting where I don't see how. It's actually an interesting conversation to have about how psyops can work as a whole, because when I analyze, especially as a man, and I always talk from the masculine frame, not because I'm a misogynist, but because I'm a man. And I understand the masculine frame because I am a man. If you stray from the archetype of masculinity, if you stray from honor, courage, if you're not dutiful, if you don't believe in putting honor in your last name, if you don't want to be physically and mentally strong, if you don't believe in finding problems to solve, you don't believe in having a difficult life, if you stray from this because you've been psyoped to stray from it, all you end up with is misery. And it's amazing that people will see anybody who's strayed from it end up perma-miserable and still fall for the psyop. I find it incredible that people don't think logically long enough to sit and say, okay, whose life do I actually want? I would never adopt the thinking of somebody whose life I didn't want. I don't know why people even do that. I could sit and have a conversation with Prince Harry for 10 hours straight, and he could be as compendious and convincing and concise, and he could be extremely perfectly articulate with his points. And at the end of it, I'd say, yeah, but I don't want to be you. So I don't want to think like you. So get fucked. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to listen to him. So I don't know why people don't even just wake up and go, okay, whose life do I want to live? What kind of person do I want to be? Who do I want to be like? That's the kind of thinking I need to adopt and install in my mind, because we're all being programmed by someone to a degree. And I don't think you can escape programming. You can just choose the programming that you are going to install inside of your mind. I'm not going to sit and say I'm not programmed. My father programmed me. My fight coach programmed me. The friends I have around me program me. My brother programs me. My social circle programs me. We're all programmed to a degree. You have to be very careful who you're going to allow give you the programming, because if you put it up to society and culture, the current culture, as a man, you're going to end up like Prince Harry. Do you want to be Prince Harry?
It's a big question.
It's a big question.
And the answer is no.
Yeah, the answer is no. It's interesting what you said earlier about putting things back to biology, because a lot of human nature is certainly animalistically biological. And even if we look at Harry and Meghan and how they interact in their home, I obviously don't know. but I can almost guess to the T the arguments they're having. I can imagine him saying, I gave up my family for you. This is what you wanted. I gave you what you wanted. Why aren't you happy? I gave you everything you liked. And he's trying to use a logical or an emotional, well, he's trying to use an emotional argument, but it ain't gonna work because she doesn't respect him. But he's trying to use a logical argument with her, trying to understand why she treats him so badly after he completely and utterly complied. But humans are biological, and she, as a woman, wanted him to be a man. She wanted him to have some degree of parameter and barrier. And if you don't put up any parameter or barrier as a man, what a woman's going to do is she's going to push you and push you and push you and push you. She's going to see how far she can push you. That's the reality of it. We can talk about any relationship, whether it's Harry and Meghan or any other relationship. If you're a full-grown man and you don't set parameters or set barriers, the woman's going to push you and push you and push you until she eventually finds one. And we can look at that in a romantic relationship, but also people in general. If you're going to give to a taker, they're going to take and take and take and take until you eventually say no. That's how humans work. So she was waiting for him on a biological level to stand up and be a man and say, listen, you've joined the royal family. You're right. You had to bow to the Queen of England. Correct. Because it's the royal family. Get over it. That's all he had to do. He could have saved himself all this mess. He could have saved himself all the running away and looking like a fool and the upcoming divorce and all this garbage if he would have just put his foot down. He never did. And she was trying to inspire in him the warrior. I think a woman sometimes tests a man to say, okay, how much will he put up with? Because they want to see, are you a man or not? What if a man's giving you shit? What will you do? They want to see if you're about it. And she was just testing him, and he failed every time. And that's why he's tried to please her. And now he's in a situation where he's asking her why she's unhappy when he's given her everything she wants. And she's unhappy because you gave her everything she wants because you're a punk.
Women don't want neutered men. They don't.
Absolutely.
Even if they personally neuter them themselves, it's not what they want in the end.
I couldn't agree more with what is being said. There's no way, and anybody that looks at Meghan and Harry now, nobody would want to be in their shoes or would want to have their life. They can put out as many PR pieces as they like. They're not fooling anyone. They look absolutely miserable, specifically Harry. And here's the thing, I don't feel bad because they did this to themselves. Meghan Markle was given everything and more, and she took it for granted. You know, there's a saying that my dad always used to say, is that you never miss the water until the well runs dry. It is my hope that these two, at least one of them, will realize what they have lost. Now, on one hand, it's their life and it's for them to go and figure out. However, go about and do it privately instead of publicly telling others how they should live. And this is where they're rubbing everyone the wrong way. They can't really preach about compassion when they don't even show their own family compassion. We all know that charity begins at home. Anyhow, they're going to continue to keep doing what they do with more lies, more hypocrisy, and we're just going to be here to keep calling it out. Folks, I do believe, if not already, we are in the Diana 2.0 divorce era. I did a video on this a while back, and I was predicting and still predicting that Meghan would do a Diana and hold an auction for her clothes. Well, the rumors going around that she is thinking about it, are we surprised? No. I would be more surprised to know that she kept those hideous garments somewhere in that Olive Garden castle. I highly doubt that she purchased a majority of the clothes that we saw after they left the royal family. We all know how Meghan loves her freebies, and chances are the clothes that were given to her were being lent to her, like a lot of stars do. Like, who's going to want to buy that? Anyhow, I'm not going to say any more. It's best if I keep my mouth shut so I don't get demonetized. Anyhow, definitely leave your thoughts below, and you know it, as always, I will be back with more content. But until then, please be safe, and I'll talk to you later. Bye!
I was such a fraud.